Hey guys, what's up? It's Toyhouze, and today I have an awesome video for you guys. Today we're going to talk about the best investments to make gold for TBC Classic Pre-Patch and beyond. In this gold farm guide, we're going to talk about what to buy or farm before TBC Pre-Patch, because once that's released, you can expect lots of items to change in value. So I'm going to tell you some of those items that I believe are going to go up in value that you should either buy or farm now so that you can profit greatly. So let's just get started. So first of all, if you saw my last video, there's a bunch of quest items you can buy to prepare. Now, during pre-patch and in TBC Classic, we're going to see a lot of people leveling new characters, whether that's from level 1 or from 58 onward. So there's a lot of quest items you can buy. So in my last video, I listed out all those different quest items, whether that's cloth that you can turn in, or, is it murloc fins, bronze tubes, turtle meat, Hillman's cloak. These are all alliance, but there's also horde ones as well, or things that are shared, like the badlands quests, right? You'll need to get those frost oil, the gyrochronatoms, healing potion, lesser invisibility potion, and of course the patterned bronze bracers. I think that's going to be an incredible one, because when I was leveling, I couldn't find any on the auction house. I had to actually buy the materials to make that, and then go and find a blacksmith to make it. So that was really hard for me to even get. So I think that one's going to be really valuable if you can make it, if you're a blacksmith, and throw that up on the auction house. Elixir of Fortitude's another one. True Silver Bar. Speaking of True Silver Bar, by the way, and I'm going to post this in the comments for you all to see, but I want to talk about Jewelcrafting. This is going to be a really big way to make money. Basically, with Jewelcrafting, you're going to need a ton of things that right now aren't very valuable. I actually checked the auction house and looked at some of the prices for the items that you're going to be using to level Jewelcrafting, and a lot of them are under market price. Things like Tiger's Eye, Silver Bar, even Moss Agate was super low, which surprised me. It's usually very expensive. True Silver Bar and Ore was both very cheap. Aquamarine was also very cheap. Azerothian diamonds, huge emeralds, things like that I thought would be way more expensive are going quite cheap right now. So I bought up those myself because I believe they're going to go up in value. Things like elemental water as well. These are all going to be needed to level up Jewelcrafting. And so it's definitely worth purchasing, holding on to, and when pre-patch releases, go ahead and list in the auction house for those people leveling Jewelcrafting. Now, here's my biggest tip of the video, if you ask me. If you've seen my other videos, I love buying stuff from vendors and listing them on the auction house. And with TBC Pre-Patch, we've got a lot of new vendors with new recipes to buy and sell on the auction house. For example, a lot of these Jewelcrafting designs are actually on some of these vendors. You actually need to go find them in order to level up your Jewelcrafting. So the biggest one that I think could be a moneymaker for you is the design pendant of the agate shield. Now, Alliance players, and this is sold in a limited quantity, they can find this from Neil Allen in Menethil Harbor wetlands, and the Horde can buy it from Jandia at Freewind Post in Thousand Needles. This recipe is used to get 30 skill ups while leveling Jewelcrafting, so you can bet that it will be in high demand. Now, that's not the only one. There's also the Design True Silver Crab. This is another limited quantity recipe, or I guess design, sold by a vendor. For Horde, it's in Gromgal Base Camp, sold by Nerist, who sells trade goods. And for Alliance, you can find it in Theramore Isle, sold by Helenia Olden, who sells trade supplies. Helenia also sells the design for Black Pearl Panther, but for Horde to get the recipe, you're going to need to go to Banalash in Stonard, Swamp of Sorrows. So those are a couple vendors to take note of. Try to get there as fast as you can, get that recipe, throw it up on the auction house. I think you'll be able to ask for quite a bit of gold for these. Now, of course, there's also designs that are being sold by vendors that are not in limited quantity, from vendors of the Jewelcrafting supplies vendor, an Exodar and Silver Moon City. Of course, the price on these will probably be much lower than the limited stock designs, but I think it's still worthwhile to buy one or two to see if you can get some sales, because if people buy roasted quail when there's unlimited quantity from the auction house, I think they're going to go ahead and buy these new Jewelcrafting designs, even if there's infinite quantity. And of course, there are other designs that will drop off trash in Azeroth, and of course, I recommend selling it as well for excellent profit. And one last thing I would like to say, with this whole new character thing is you're also going to see probably a lot of people buying things like lesser magic wand, greater magic wand, because it makes so much sense to level with those if you're a caster. And of course, the paladin mount quest item materials. It's going to be rune cloth, sungrass, dark runes, Azerothian diamond, which is also going to be used for jewel crafting, and a pristine black diamond. So keep those in mind as well. Speaking of paladins, I should also speak of shaman. So you're probably going to see, if you're on the alliance side, things like fish oil going up in price. So maybe buy those ahead of the time, because you need water walking requires fish oil. So water walking is shaman spell, allows you to walk on water. It's going to require fish oil to cast that spell, so you're probably going to see shamans buying that at some point. And you're also going to see shiny fish scales probably go up in price as well, because shaman need those shiny fish scales in order to cast water breathing. And then if you're horde, I think a lot of people are going to be looking for shield spikes. AoE protection paladins are definitely a thing. It's going to be very popular in the Burning Crusade, I predict. And so I think a lot of paladins are going to be trying to level using AoE grinding. I know it'll be tough, but I still think people are going to try to do it. And they're going to want those shield spikes for sure throughout all of TBC Classic, including pre-patch. So if you can purchase them, if you are a blacksmith, I think you have a great opportunity there for shield spikes. If you're not a blacksmith, try to look at some of the materials required to create those shield spikes if you're a miner, and see if you can start buying that stuff up or farming it yourself. Okay, so we talked a lot about professions here. I want to talk about a few more different profession items that you can purchase that I think are going to give you a really great return on investment. So I think that tailoring is pretty much best in slot for so many classes and specializations in the Burning Crusade. I can just, if you're a healer, the Primal Mooncloth set, regardless if you're a paladin or a druid or anything like that, it's so strong. And then if you're a priest and you want to go shadow, then the Frozen Shadow Weave set is super strong. And even if you're not a shadow priest, it's super strong for, warlocks and mages and all of that. So with that said, cloth is super cheap right now on the auction house, and it is a perfect time to buy up and prepare to sell it later when TBC Pre-Patch is released, because all of these sets I've kind of listed off require a ton of shadow cloth, primal moon cloth, and spell cloth, and those are time gated. You can only create so many, and so people are going to be probably leveling alts just to be a tailoring alt so that they can get more of these cloths created, because I imagine they're going to sell for anywhere from like 40 to like 100 gold plus, like depending on how inflated your economy is. And I think that's going to go really, really well for you if you are buying tons of cloth, because it's so cheap right now. And I think during TBC, it's going to be really expensive. So I think tailoring's a really big one. Now, I think a lot of people predicted leatherworking and leather was going to be very expensive. I will say I don't think that's going to be the case anymore with the recent drums nerf. If you aren't aware, tinnitus was introduced, and so really you only need one person to have leatherworking in order to really capitalize on the drums buff. So it was nerfed. So I want to talk about some enchanting mats next. I think that large brilliant shards are going to remain highly relevant due to brilliant wizard oil. These are going to be definitely going up in value in the Burning Crusade, as they are going to be used throughout the entirety of TBC. Right now, I think that they're underpriced, so I think they're a great investment. Large brilliant shards as well. I would actually keep them as large brilliant shards if you're an enchanter. Don't turn it into the brilliant wizard oil, because I think people will want both. But large brilliant shards are also needed to create the next rod, the fell iron rod, for an enchanter to continue to level up their enchanting skills. They need 6 of them, so I think they're going to be very expensive. And also just creating brilliant wizard oil to level enchanting as well. So I would say large brilliant shards, number one choice for enchanting materials that will stay relevant and get even more expensive. Now, the last thing I want to talk about are some herbs, or herbs, however you say it. There are 3, I think, that are going to be really important. Now, I remember when I played on Atlantis, I was actually going herbalism, and I was surprised to see that I actually needed some herbs from Azeroth in order to continue leveling alchemy in the Burning Crusade. The biggest one, I think, will be really expensive in the future is golden sansam. Now, not only do you need this to create a number of alchemy recipes to level alchemy, but it also creates the notorious and powerful elixir of healing power. Now, I looked at all of the different potions in the Burning Crusade, and elixir of healing power is the only potion that provides bonus healing power. No other herb actually creates this. So I actually think golden sansam is going to be extremely powerful for the entirety of TBC, as well as very, very expensive in the beginning as people are leveling alchemy. Now, another one that I think is going to be very valuable is Dream Foil for Adept's Elixir. Now, I think this is going to be a time-sensitive one. I think that you're going to need to capitalize on it early, so take this with a grain of salt. Adept's Elixir, I think, will be used early on before people transition on to more powerful flasks. So if you want to buy up Dream Foil, or if you want to create Adept's Elixirs, I think for the first maybe month or so, I think you're going to pull a really good profit there. And now the last herb I want to talk about is Mountain Silver Sage. This creates Living Action Potion, Flask of Supreme Power, and the Flask of Petrification. These are all situationally good, so I think that even in TBC they'll find their uses. So I think Mountain Silver Sage will also be a nice one, and of course you do need a bit in order to level your alchemy. So I think those are the herbs you're going to need. That's pretty much all of the things. I think to summarize everything that we talked about today, and it was quite a bit, and I'll try to put a lot of this in the description for you because I know it's a lot to remember. Quest items you can buy, leveling items, things like Lesser Magic Wand, Greater Magic Wand, Shield Spikes, Fish Oil, Shiny Fish Scales. Jewelcrafting is huge. Don't forget that one. The Jewelcrafting mats, the designs that are going to be available from vendors, I think will be a huge sneaky opportunity for you. And then, of course, other profession materials. I think tailoring is a big one. Enchanting, herbalism. Those are all going to be a great opportunity for you guys. All right, that's it for today's video, guys. Went by really fast this time, but hopefully you guys got tons of value. If you did, don't forget to like the video. If you want more World of Warcraft content, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care.